This is a summary of Daf Pei Amud Beis that finishes this mimer, where the Alter Rebbe is describing the unique service of the Baal Asik, a person who's otherwise engaged in business times, and he has to put aside special time to study Torah. And this is why there is a certain superior virtue, as indicated by Zvulun, who was the merchant being mentioned before his older brother, the scholar Yisachar, because there is this distinctive quality that is described in the next pasuk of Shir Hashirim that says that I will direct you and bring you into the house of my mother through Torah study, that when we study Torah, we become close with Hashem like a child is to the mother. So we have two psukim. The first pasuk describes us, our longing for who will be like a brother that we nurse from the same source, which is a reference to the Jew, and specifically at the time of the Beis Hamikdash, when we were aligned with Hashem with that intensity that's comparable to being a brother. And then we have the next pasuk that says, I will bring you into my mother's house, and you will have spiced wine and pomegranate juice. Spiced wine is not only the deliciousness of the wine, but the aroma. And just as the aroma sort of hovers over the wine, so too, this is a quality that can't be captured, the quality we call makim. And even a person who can't even study Torah at all, he is like the juice of the pomegranate. And the distinctive quality of the pomegranate is like the Gemara tells us in Sanhedrin, that it is filled with seeds to indicate the Jew, even if he is simple, he's not rebellious, he's not violent, but he's unlettered, he is as filled with mitzvahs as a pomegranate is filled with seeds. Then the mimer concludes there, but with a further explanation. It goes on to describe that there are two different types of tzaddikim. There are the Yosef types and the Binyamin types. One tries to bring the loftiest down. The other tries to bring the ordinary up. Yosef is called the tzaddik Yayin, and he tries to bring it down here. This is why he's referred to as a young boy, because it's comparable to the kruvim that stood on top of the ark, on top of the luchos. And Binyamin, where there was such difficulty in his birth, because the character of Binyamin is not to bring down into this world. The character of Binyamin is to elevate this world to the spiritual world, and that's why birthing is counterintuitive to the character of Binyamin, which birthing is revelation, and Binyamin is about taking what is revealed and bringing it back to its origin. And yet the two kruvim face each other. Both characteristics are valuable and necessary. The Yosef quality that brings Atzilus into Biyah, and the Binyamin quality that brings Biyah up to Atzilus. And this is indicated in the characteristic that is described as kissing. Why does a person kiss his beloved? Because he can't express in mere words his love. So he expresses it through his behavior. Words are limited entities and cannot capture the intensity of godliness. It is only the physical expression of love. And this is what it means to bring it into my mother's house, that we should receive from the mother, like the pasuk that says we were brothers and we received nourishment from the same source. Because at that loftier level, we can only be recipients. We can't be active partners. Then there's a small explanation about the idea of the kruvim, that the Jewish people stand together and they receive from that loftiest of levels through our loftiest, that is most infinite characteristic, namely our ability to engage our imagination and to incorporate ideas. And from there, we manifest them into our speech and ultimately into our behavior. And this is why the kruvim react on the 3 times a day when they spread their wings, because it's the 3 times of davening. When we elevate ourselves from the physical world, particularly the person who's otherwise engaged in business affairs, and he stops that, he puts that aside, and he brings himself to a spiritual level through davening, this characteristic is what elevates him, just like the kruvim that spread their wings. This ends the summary of the mimer of Parshas Truma.